5. Fred, Sam, and I stood in the middle of the great hall of Camelot. Torches sputtered on stone walls that disappeared high in the darkness above. Knights and ladies dressed in robes and cloaks of all colors surrounded us. Dogs and little kids ran in and out of the crowd. "Welcome, enchanters," said a tall, serious-looking fellow. It had to be King Arthur. Who else would be wearing a crown and sitting on a throne in the middle of Camelot? "Sir Lancelot tells me thou hast rid us of that scourge, the Black Knight. How can we show our thanks?" "Oh, thankest you, your honor, your sire, your majesty," I said in my best old-time English. That was mostly Sir Fred's work. Fred raised his stick and took a bow. The crowd oohed and awed. "Maybe you could help us out, King, sir, sire," I said. "See, we were in the middle of a birthday party at my house, and we'd like to get back before the ice cream melts. Do you know the way to New York?" King Arthur slid his crown back and scratched his head. "York, yes, but New York? New York?" "Yes, that's it," said Sam. The name ringeth no chimes. Merlin knowest about this place, New York?" An old guy in a long blue-black robe and tall coned hat shuffled forward. He looked us over with flashing green eyes that gave me the willies. "I know not New York, but methinks these three be poor enchanters who cannot find their own way home." The surrounding crowd murmured. "Nasty old coot," whispered Fred. "Who asked him to butt in? Maybe I should just give him a whack with my stick before he gives us any more trouble." "Another great idea from the mind of Sir Fred," whispered Sam. "Hit the king's magician. I'm sure he won't mind. He'd probably reward us with a place to stay for the rest of our lives. A place like a dungeon, maybe." I could see we were losing the crowd. I had to do something fast. "Oh, we're enchanters, all right," I said. "I am Sir Joe, the Magnificent." The crowd ah-ed. We had them back. "Would you show us some small spell of enchantment for our amusement, Sir Joe the Magnificent?" asked Merlin. And then he stood there, giving us one of those looks teachers give when they ask you a question they know you could never answer in a million years. "Yes, please show us a spell," said the lady sitting next to King Arthur, Queen Guinevere. How could I turn down the queen? "Spell, you say?" My palms got sweaty while I stalled for time, trying to think. "Yes, a little spell." "Spells? Oh, yeah. Oh, sure," said Sam. "Sir Joe the Magnificent here is a regular magician." I thought of Uncle Joe. "Magic, of course. Bring me cards." The court jester brought a deck of cards with all sorts of crazy pictures on them. There were no suits or numbers that I could tell, just a lot of strange pictures. I shuffled the cards and pressed the deck to my forehead like the real Joe the Magnificent did at his shows. "Yes, I am feeling the power of the cards now. Could I have a volunteer from the audience?" The queen stepped forward. She stood right next to me, and I thought I would faint. She was so beautiful. No wonder Lancelot was crazy about her. I reshuffled the cards and tried to concentrate on the trick. Just a deck of cards, nothing up my sleeve. Now you see 'em, now you don't. I fanned out the deck face down. "Pick a card, any cards," Sam groaned. Guinevere picked. "Show everyone the card, please." And while everyone looked at the queen's card, I snuck a peek at the card I would put right in front of hers. It was a guy hanging upside down. "Now place it back in the deck, and I will have the cards speak to me and tell me which one of them you picked." I carefully reshuffled the deck to keep the hanged man in front of Queen Guinevere's card. Then I muttered all of the magic words I could think of. Hocus pocus, presto changeo, open sesame. The cards are about to speak. I flipped the cards slowly and made a big deal of listening to each one, just like Uncle Joe did. The crowd wasn't making a sound. I flipped the hanged man. I flipped the next card, listened to it for an extra second, and then held it up. "Your card, my lady?" "The magician card. 'Tis truth," said Guinevere. The crowd cheered. Guinevere kissed me. I turned to jelly. "Faith, sir, a fair little trick," croaked that killjoy Merlin. "But can thou do a true enchantment, a spell to change a man to frog, or to vanish in thin air?" The challenge hung there like a bad smell in a phone booth. The crowd went silent, waiting for our answer. Suddenly, a messenger burst through the doors at the far end of the great hall. Your Majesty, your Majesty, Bleob the giant stands at the very castle door. He demands 3 fair damsels to eat instantly. King Arthur looked worried. The fair damsels in the crowd looked worse than that. Another messenger dashed into the hall, nearly running over the first. Smog the dragon has been seen flying from the west. He will be at the castle walls in minutes. Ah, said Merlin with that evil teacher voice and smile again. Here is a perfect test for our enchanters. Go ahead and hit him with your stick, Fred, said Sam. At least we'll be safe from giants and dragons down in the dungeon. Fred lifted his stick. No, we can't do that, I said. What do you suggest we do, Mr. Magnificent? Said Sam. I looked at Merlin, then at Queen Guinevere. I think we should go out and find if dragons and giants are for real.